Hey, good morning to you from Wood Street Assembly of God, and I'm here for this morning's devotion, and it's a two-part. So if you're with me this morning, I think on Thursday I'll be back, and I'm going to finish this up. But what I want to talk to you about is who determines your worth, a validation, and if you'll get this, it can set you free in a lot of areas. I'm telling you. Years ago, I used to go to schools. I traveled with a group called Abstinence by Choice, and I was one of the speakers, and we would go to various schools in the central Arkansas area to share the message. And one thing I would do, I would walk in with a price tag on me, because people were going, well, what does that mean? What does that mean? And so I have a price tag on me. The other thing I do, and I didn't do that today, and you can be grateful, is I'd walk in with a blender, and I have goldfish in it. And I'd have that setting up there, and there were these 8th grade, very impressionable kids, right? And I'd set that blender there, and I'd talk about your choices have consequences, and people are swimming in a blender, and they don't even know they are. And in just a matter of time, someone's going to hit a button, and then I'd walk through the buttons, chop and dice and, all the different levels. And when you got to the highest level, it would be liquefy. And I made it look like I had it plugged in. I didn't, but it looked like it was. And so I would say, hey, let me hit liquefy. Now, they see those little goldfish in there swimming. Let me hit liquefy. Oh, no, don't do that. And I'd count to 3. Here's what I noticed. All the guys would be sitting on the edge of their seats going, oh, do it. All the girls, they'd be covering their faces, but they'd be looking, don't. But they'd be peeking out to see. And it was quite a deal. With the price tag, though, what I told them was that each one of us has one of these attached to our hearts. It's invisible, but it's there. And it's been given to you, and you get to determine who fills out your price tag. Whoever you let fill out this price tag, basically, they're the report card on you for that moment, right? If you let your teacher fill out that price tag, and you're having a good day in class, and the teacher compliments you, man, you are doing well. If the teacher doesn't compliment you and says, you're doing poorly, you feel bad. If your friend is, you're having a great day, and they're complimenting you, and you're enjoying you feel great. But if your friend is mad at you, they're filling out that price tag, you feel terrible. We allow all sorts of people. Wives allow husbands to fill out the price tag on them. And I've got to tell you, wives, you can't do that. You have a question that needs to be answered, and you go to your husband and have it answered, and he is going to fail you every time. That's why when you're in love, in that infatuation stage, you feel like that question is being answered. And then you get married, and infatuation flees, and love is more of a choice than a feeling. And now, well, that price tag, it just doesn't seem to be getting filled out the way that you wanted it to. But the same is true for the man. So many times the men take their question to the woman, and they give them their price tag. And again, during that infatuation, romantic stage, it's great. But you know that once you're married, you don't stay on that high, that there is reality and there's life that happens. And the moment that you start messing up and that you're not fulfilling your needs, you feel it. The price tag goes down, and your question isn't being answered. Well, we have so many people that are struggling with this question. Am I good enough? Do I have what it takes? Am I worth pursuing? Well, the truth is that we look to things like our job. I pastored a church, and in all honesty, when I began to pastor it, I'd been taking my question, my price tag, if you would, to my wife. And for a while that was working. But when I moved to the job, the question wasn't being totally answered. So I moved it to my job and how well I did. And then when that didn't go well, it left me in a quandary, but it almost destroyed my marriage. You've got to be careful who you give this to. You've got to be careful what you base this on. Because if you give it to people as their feelings and their opinions change, so is the price of your tag. Is that the way that we're called to live? I don't think so. You know, some people take their price tag to church. I love the church. It's not a good place to hang your price tag, though, especially if someone is trying to get you to teach or to do something that you don't really feel called to do, but you're wanting to please them. And so you step out and you do, and now you're obligated, not the place Jesus wants you to be. He wants you to live out of joy, not out of obligation. Now, there's some people, they say, well, we should be obligated. Well, you just go ahead and be obligated. Let me know how it goes for you. I'm going to go on and enjoy life and have fun in Christ. But there's wealth. Some people, their price tag depends on how much money they have in the bank, or how they wow other people, how people feel about, do they see me as affluent? Do they see me as influential? How do people see me? Some people, it's about their stuff, how big their house is, or when they're driving down the road, the car that they have that they've wrapped around themselves, that they're paying a lot of money for the sake of image. You can prop that up all you want to. Some people, they've turned to what I'm going to call bad theology, worm theology. You're nothing. You're a nobody. You can do nothing. And it just goes on and on. They have their value degraded over and over and over, and they get stuck in a performance religious type thing of trying to get on God's good side. And actually what they're trying to do is get other people to agree they're on God's good side, because they're not fulfilling God's expectations of them. They're fulfilling the expectations of everybody around them that bring their own measuring stick to make sure that everyone else is holy enough. I call it worm theology. Some people get caught up in all sorts of different philosophies. There are so many places we can go to try to discover worth, but there's a word that I believe the Lord has today for us, and we'll complete it in the next Devo. But it's in Jeremiah chapter 2, beginning at verse 13. He says, "For my people have committed two evils. First, they've forsaken me, the fountain of living waters. Secondly, they've hewed out cisterns for themselves, broken cisterns that can hold no water." Let me just stop right there. Do you see that? They have forsaken me, the fountain of living waters. They no longer drink here. They no longer find their satisfaction in me. They're trying to find their satisfaction in things that really don't matter. I like the movie True Grit. Actually, the movies True Grit. I'm a John Wayne fan, but I thought Jeff Bridges did a great job. But in both of those movies, the Texas Ranger that was there has this line. He says, "Well, I remember a time when it was so dry I drank from a hoof print, and I was glad to get that water." Well, that's what a lot of Christians are doing, a lot of believers. They're drinking from hoof prints. They're drinking from broken cisterns. They're drinking from fountains that they should never drink from and that are polluted. They're polluted fountains. And they're trying to find their satisfaction there from all these places. Work is a great place to have. Your job is a great thing to have. But if that's the thing where you're finding your satisfaction, it's a polluted place. Relationships are wonderful to have in friendships, but if you're busy giving your tag away to everyone you meet and trying to please them and morphing into whatever they think you should be, you're drinking from a polluted place. Let me tell you, you were created in the image and the likeness of God, and there's only one place you can take this tag right here that your worth will truly be put there, and that's in Christ. You are not your own. You have been bought with a price. And with this tag, if Jesus has it, you'll just see the blood. You'll see a blood mark there because that's what you were purchased with. You know what that says about you, friend? In the mind and the eyes of God, because He doesn't need your performance. He doesn't need you to do good today so that His throne is more established and more secure. He doesn't need you to perform so that He can feel better about you. He doesn't need you to come and meet a need in Him. He has no needs. What He wants is just children that He can love, who can love Him back. And if you'll give your tag to Him, you're going to discover your true worth. If you take it to these other places, you'll have moments when you'll feel good, but you're never going to, because see, things change, circumstances change, people change. But God says, I change not. I would just encourage you today, with your price tag, take it to the Lord, and He'll remind you of your identity, of who you are, and of your worth. So that's what I have for today. I'll finish this up Thursday. God bless you. Have a great day.